Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is part three of game three of my Great Turkish War Skirmish series, and of course, playing with Ospreys. Excellent rules, Pikeman's Lament, just fantastic. Can't great rules for doing sort of this size of game from roughly 1500 to 1700, and the units are all generic, so you can sort of work things in to what you want to achieve. And some people might say, well, there's no historical flavor, but I think like the warlord rules, it gives you pretty good opportunity to kind of house rule things and that sort of thing. So I'm actually filming this. This is the second take. I lost the first opening action, so we're on the Ottoman turn, and so we have some. Let me shift the camera over, trying to get both sides. So we have our provincial musketeers fire into this pike block. They took an additional casualty. They had 3 already, so I'm going to remove these four guys in the back row. And I'm going to, and then they did the morale check and they passed, and then we're going to keep rolling with the Turks. I think we're going to shift to this unit of actually I think we'll shift to there's another unit of Tatars in the rear, and I think they're going to want to come up online and try and get in here. So I'm going to shift to them and see if they can do maybe a skirmish, or I think they'll just do a move. Okay, so unfortunately no activation for these Tatars, so they're going to stay hanging back, and that lets us turn the action over to the Austrians. And I think we're going to start with our Lieutenant's line infantry unit. I think he's going to want to move his guys up and try and press the attack onto the remaining Ottoman troops. And just by way of doing a quick recap, went a little back and forth the first 2 parts of the match of the game, but right now the Austrians are winning in terms of points lost. So the Ottomans reduced the lance Spahi or cavalry unit to 1 man left. Austrians did lose most of their first cavalry squadron, but the Ottomans also lost 1 unit of janissaries, and this unit has had to fall back from taking some damage from the pike. And then our command unit, that's Orhan Gazi, our Turkish commander with the orange and blue stripe shield. So I think the minute he can get a move activation, I think he's going to try and advance up and work his way in, because he's getting pushed back right now. And the Ottomans also have a cannon. I think I'll just take this time to discuss artillery in this set of rules. I will say first, I've got 4 miniatures as a crew. The rules call for 6, but I just have 4 because that's all I've got, at least painted up. I think I have the 2 figures somewhere anyway. So 6 crewmen. I'm just going to say they can have 6 casualties, and it's the same with that unit of Tatars that I just showed. Dragoons are supposed to move in units of 6, but I only have 5 extra. But that's just to clarify if you're interested in playing them. But back to artillery. Artillery in this game, you can use it, but you're activating on 8+. So I would say, in terms of artillery in this game, it's obviously more of a club, casual sort of style of rules, but in terms of designing army lists and scenarios, you may want to house rule artillery to shoot more effectively. I think if I do another game in this little campaign series, if I can come up with an additional scenario, I think I'm going to have the Ottoman artillery be a little bit better, just because historically they were pretty good at it. Because you're rolling on an 8 on 2d6 to activate to shoot, and if you've been keeping up with the previous parts in the series, I've tried to have the artillery fire, but usually not really rolling to activate. And in this game, we've got an Ottoman gun here, sort of more light gun, and the Austrians also have a light artillery gun. So that's just sort of a side note, but let's keep going with the game. Okay, I think our Austrian lieutenant, things are starting to get a little confused. He rolled a 3 on his activation, on his command roll, so no activation, and that turns the action back over to the Ottomans. Okay, so I think over here we're going to start with our Janissaries. I think they're going to want to fire into the pikemen. So let's see if they can activate. 5, and they need a 7. So no activation, and that's the turn. I'm kind of repeating myself from earlier videos, but I think this is why this rule set works really well, because the random activation helps keep the game moving, and it definitely helps make it so sort of unexpected things can happen, which I definitely appreciate. So I think since we're over here, I think our pikemen, they are definitely going to want to keep pressing into the Ottomans, and I think they're going to try and swing and just try and push these Janissaries back. Nine, so they activate to attack, and they're going to shift a bit, and they're going to crash into those Janissaries. Not great rolls from the pike. Only 1 hit, and that's not enough to inflict a wound on the Janissaries. So, going to roll for Janissaries' defense now, and they are hitting in close on melee on a 5. So they managed to get 2 hits, but pike are stamina 3, so that's not enough. But all it means for the pike is that they're going to have to withdraw 3 inches straight back, so they're just going to slide back. Probably good for them, because if they kept pushing up, they might have gotten too far and gotten unsupported. And I think our next unit, let me shift the camera over here. Our unit of line infantry here, which hasn't seen too much action, I think they're going to fire their muskets into this approaching unit of Tatars. So going to need 7 to do a shoot activation, and they pass. And then we'll see how many wounds they manage to inflict on these dragoons. Okay, not a very successful volley from the line infantrymen. Only managed to get 2 hits, and cavalry are stamina 3, so nothing there. But they managed to activate, so that's still good to keep the turn moving. I think our going to the back of the Austrian line, we've got some militia musketeers, and they're going to want to get up and start moving in, so they're going to roll to activate. So let's see, 9 definitely activate, and they only need a 5 to move, so they're just going to move 6 inches, and move up. And then we've got our other unit of horse back here. Things are starting to get a little crowded. I admit that the way I've got this board set up, just because of the table size, it's kind of doesn't work too well for 28 mil, especially in a bigger game like this. So they've got a bit of a traffic jam. But let's see if they can move. 5, and that's a 6 because their officer's unit is right in front of them. And so I think they're just gonna, they've got a 10-inch move, and I think they're just gonna kind of start moving up. And these guys are Galloper Cavalry. Normally, for some of the other games I played on the channel, or like playing Warlord Pike and Shot, I treat them as caracole, but we're in the late 17th century, and really caracole wasn't too much of a thing, so not you know, they're just regular cavalrymen. And then our final Austrian move, well, maybe not final, but we've got artillery gun as well, but I think the next Austrian move, let's see if I can get, is these guys, these Militia Musketeers. I'm going to fire into that last cavalryman, and let's see, yep, activation. They're only down 1 man, so they're going to get all their shots, but they might need them because these Turkish cavalry are pretty tough with stamina 3, and they need 6s. So that's one hit, and so yep, so that's 1 hit, and unit is wiped. So that's a whole unit of Turkish cavalry that's been eliminated. So that's a definitely fortunate for the Austrians today, and especially with just a little unit of local militiamen. And I think gonna try and see if the cannon can shoot into those Tatars, because they might chew up the line infantry. So fire, we need an 8 to activate, 7, and is the officer within 12? Nope, not quite. So that ends our activation for Austrians, but that was a pretty good turn. Opened up this flank, and so I think our Turkish cavalry is going to want to move in and try and cover that. Okay, so these guys were gonna activate. They got a double 6, so that gives for our Turkish commander a roll on the. I don't really have a name for this chart, but they have a, it's a blunder, and then the opposite of that, sort of a critical roll, if you will. So let's see, you've got a 6. Okay, wow. Senior officers see an opportunity in your mission and send 4 points of reinforcements that arrive from your deployment zone by a move action. This unit counts as an extra unit for your company morale and mission goals. May only happen once per game. Okay, so that's a 4-point unit. That's actually helpful for the Turks. So let's see. I think he's a cavalryman, and he's a cavalryman, so I think he's going to want to call back some additional cavalry. So we're just going to reuse the same figures, but going to use some additional cavalry, and I think they're going to come in from this back sort of side. Let me shift the camera just 1 second. Okay, so they, in a sort of a twist of events, the Turks managed to get some additional cavalry onto the field, and I think our commander's unit's also going to get to move. So I think he's going to go. He's going to have his squadron ride just up behind them to sort of cover just to help cover that flank. Get a better shot at that. So they are riding up to cover those guys, and this squadron with lances is able to. They might be able to charge into the remaining, either these line infantrymen or the militia that's helping cover that artillery gun. And then let's see what our next Turkish move is. I think these musketeers, these provincial musketeers, are going to fire, and then these janissaries are going to attempt to fire. So 8, yep. So provincial musketeers are able to fire, and going to roll to see if they can shoot into those pike. And we need 5s to hit. So we've got an additional casualty on the pike. So they're reduced down another man. So that brings them to 5 total casualties, and do a morale check here. 7 minus 5 is 2, and they need a 4 plus. However, they might get a bonus if the officer's in range. They might get a 2 plus, because then that has gotten some of the lieutenant's units out of a jam. So yep, so the lieutenant's unit of line infantry is just in range, so that gave them, so they got an 8, and still not enough though, so they're going to be wavering. So I will put some white smoke to represent that. Okay, our Janissary unit here was going to try and fire at those pike again, just to see if maybe they could finish them off, but only rolled a 5, need a 7 to activate, so nothing there, and that ends the Ottoman turn. But this really changes things up a bit, now that we've got an additional unit of Turkish cavalry on the table, and among other things. So I'm not sure. I thought the Austrians were going to be able to win this one, starting to win, but again, sort of the dice make this is really what keeps these rules interesting, and especially for solo gaming, it's perfect. So Austrian turn, and we're going to see what our little lieutenant can do. Our lieutenant can do with his task force. Okay, line infantry here. They're going to shoot into those Tatars, and still at full strength, or above half strength, and rolled terribly. So 2 hits, but not enough to inflict a casualty. And then we will shift to. Oh, I forgot. I messed up. Our pike has to rally. So let's see, how do we rally a unit? Okay, so our pikemen were successful, so they were able to rally. That comes before you do any ordered activations, and I just forgot to do that. All right, so and then our next unit, our lieutenant's unit, is going to try and advance. Yep, 7, so because he gets +1 because it's his unit. So they're just going to move up 6 inches, and so they moved up, and they beside Ottoman gun. They haven't done too much this game, and I think our cavalry are going to try and maneuver into some kind of fighting position. Nope, 3. Yeah, so no movement from them, and back to the Turks. And I think our fresh cavalry unit, they're going to try and charge into this line infantry unit that's hanging out here. So let's see what they can do. Okay, 11, I get 10 Okay, so I was checking some rules, and it I thought that the line infantry could do a close order formation in response to an attack. That's not the case. That's a move activation, or that's a move order, because to represent the fact that they have a socket bayonet, or to represent they have a bayonet, which the rules allow for, in sort of post 1678 engagements or themed battles. But I think I didn't realize that, so our Turks are just going to attack, and they were able to dice to attack, so they might very well really wipe out this unit here. Okay, Turks didn't actually roll too well, so one additional casualty on the line infantry. I'll just shift them just to show that they're reacting to the attack. And then the line infantry are going to dice to defend. And they need a 6 to land any kind of hit, which I don't think they will. So on defend for shot, I believe is 6. I don't think they were able to do that. Oh, nope, defense value is a 5+, so 1, 2, 3. So that's 1 casualty, and there's 2 more 5s, but that's still 1 casualty. So that is 1 casualty on the fresh Turkish cavalry. Gonna have to do a morale check. 4 minus 1. So they need a 3+, so they do make it, but they are going to have to retreat and fall back 3 inches. But this kind of exposes them to fire from the militia here, so they might be able to they might get shot down, but I'm not sure. Okay, our Tatars were able to successfully do a shoot order, or do a skirmishing order, so they're going to skirmish those guys. They're going to fire their bows, and they're going to fall back 6 inches. But I believe they get a -1 to all of their rolls. Let's see. Dragoons, skirmish, shoot with -1, and they're hitting on 6s. So, oh no, sorry, hitting on 5s. Yeah, that makes more sense. But in this case, they need 6s, so we've got only one hit. So no casualties on that unit of line infantry, and they're going to move back 6 inches. I think the Tatars are probably getting tired of this skirmish, of this little battle, so they're going to fall back this way. Sorry about that. Okay. And then I think our Ottoman gun is going to try and fire into the advancing line infantry. So the lieutenant's unit, unit 8, 11, yep, that's an activation, all right. So let's see if they can fire, and let me see, so it's a regimental gun, so you shoot with 12 dice, and hitting on 4s. So this could be extremely deadly for the Austrian line infantrymen. Oh boy. Not good. So we've got 3 casualties on the lieutenant's unit. So that doesn't quite remove a base. But let's see. So he's got 2 casualties already and just scored 3. So that it does. Okay, removes a base, and then okay. Sorry about stumbling over the math. So that's 3. So they're down 2. We're gonna say it counts as a 12-man unit, even though there's 3 figures on that base. So they're down to 4, 8, minus 1. So down to 7 men. Still technically above half strength. And coming up on 30 minutes again. So I think going to pause this, wrap this part of the battle up here. I was really not expecting the additional Turkish reinforcements to come onto the field. That was surprising, but I think I'll do one more part in the series to see what happens, and then I'll just wrap this battle up because it's been going on for a little while. And that's what we have going on. So we will, before I go, just do the morale check on the lieutenant's unit. Now they do get a bonus to their morale, so from the lieutenant. So let's see what they're capable of doing. 6 minus total casualties, which is 5 plus 2 from the commander. So they really got an 8. Minus 5 is 3. So they're wavering. So they're going to retreat 3, and they are now wavering. So it's roughly 3 inches. And then next part we will turn it over. We will continue with the Austrian turn, and I know this battle's been going on for a little while. I hope you liked it, and I'll talk to you on the next one.